Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. 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 Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Giri Dhari. 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 Yashoda Nandana Vraja Ranjana. Yashoda Nandana Vraja Ranjana. Yashoda Nandana Vraja Ranjana. Yashoda Nandana Vraja Ranjana. Yamuna Tira Vana Chari. Yamuna Tira Vana Chari. Yamuna Tira Vana Chari. Yamuna Tira Vana Chari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare, Jaya Radha Krishna Chandra Radha Krishna Chandra Radhe, Radha Krishna Chandra Radha Krishna Chandra Radhe, Jaya Krishna Balaram Jaya Krishna Balaram Krishna Balaram Jaya Krishna Balaram, Jaya Krishna Balaram Jaya Krishna Balaram Krishna Balaram Jaya Krishna Balaram, Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada.
ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमः ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. In the Bhagavad Gita, in the 3rd chapter, there is a question that Arjuna asks Krishna. What is the reason that somebody is forced to commit some sinful activity, even sometimes unknowingly, but the person feels there is a force? What is that force? So Krishna's reply in the 37th verse of the 3rd chapter, Shri Bhagavan Vacha, Kama Esha Krodha Esha Rajoguna Samudbhavaha Mahashano Mahapapma Vidyenam Iha Vairinam. The meaning of this verse is, the Blessed Lord said, it is lust only, Arjuna, which is born of contact with the material modes of passion and later transformed into wrath or anger, and which is the all-devouring sinful enemy of the world. So Krishna describes the cause for that force to commit sin, even sometimes unknowingly, is kama or lust. There are several examples in the scriptures about somebody affected by lust and consequently they committed some sinful activities and they were unable to avoid sin, even sometimes knowingly. So this lust is a very, very difficult force to overcome. But we shall see in the later portions of the Bhagavad Gita, in the 3rd chapter, towards the end, Krishna describes how to overcome this lust. So there is an example of one great king, Pururava. This Pururava was the emperor of the entire world. He was born as the son of Buddha and Ila. When he was born, he was extremely beautiful. He had very nice personal qualities. He was a magnanimous person. His behavior was very good. He had a lot of wealth and he had power. He had inherited the kingdom. And when he was being described by Narada in the court of Lord Indra, the celestial woman Urvashi was attracted to him. Pierced by the arrow of Cupid, she thus approached him. Now Urvashi belongs to Indraloka, heavenly planet. But she was cursed once by Mitra and Varuna, and as a result of that, she had acquired the habits of a human being, earthly being. Therefore, upon seeing Pururava, the best of males, she controlled herself and approached him. When King Pururava saw Urvashi, his eyes became jubilant in the ecstasy of joy, and the hairs on his body stood on end. With mild, pleasing words, Pururava spoke to Urvashi. "O most beautiful woman, you are welcome. Please sit here. Tell me what I can do for you. You may enjoy with me as long as you desire. Let us pass our life happily in a sexual relationship." Urvashi replied, O most handsome man, who is the woman whose mind and sight would not be attracted by you? If a woman takes shelter of your chest, she cannot refuse to enjoy with you in a sexual relationship. My dear King Pururava, please give me protection and also protect these two lambs which have fallen down with me. Although I belong to the heavenly planets and you belong to earth, I shall certainly enjoy sexual union with you. I have no objection to accepting you as my husband, for you are superior in every respect. My dear hero, only preparations made in ghee will be my eatables, and I shall not want to see you naked at any time except at the time of sexual intercourse. The great-minded King Pururava accepted these proposals from Urvashi, and he replied, "O beautiful one, your beauty is wonderful and your gestures are also very wonderful. Indeed, you are attractive to all of human society. Therefore, since you have come of your own accord from the heavenly planets, who on earth would not agree to serve a demigoddess such as you?" Then Pururava, the best of human beings, began freely enjoying the company of Urvashi, who engaged in sexual activities with him in many celestial places, such as Chaitra Ratha and Nandana Kanana, where the demigods enjoy. Urvashi's body was as fragrant as the saffron of a lotus. Being enlivened by the fragrance of her face and body, Pururava enjoyed her company for many days with great jubilation. Now, what is happening in the heavenly planets? Not seeing Urvashi in his assembly, the king of heaven, Lord Indra, said, "Without Urvashi, my assembly is no longer beautiful." Considering this, he requested the Gandharvas to bring her back to his heavenly planet. The Gandharvas came to earth, and at midnight, when everything was dark, they appeared in the house of Pururava and stole the two lambs entrusted to the king by his wife Urvashi. Urvashi treated the two lambs like her own sons. Therefore, when they were being taken away by the Gandharvas and they began to cry, Urvashi heard them and rebuked her husband. "Now I am being killed under the protection of an unworthy husband who is a coward and a eunuch, although he thinks himself a great hero. Because I depended on him, the plunderers have deprived me of my two sons, the lambs, and therefore I am now lost. My husband lies down at night in fear, exactly like a woman, although he appears to be a man during the day." Pururava was very much affected by the sharp words of Urvashi, like an elephant struck by its driver's pointed rod. Pururava became angry. Not even dressing himself properly, he took a sword in his hand and went out naked into the night to follow the Gandharvas who had stolen the lambs. This is what attraction for enjoyment with the opposite sex results in. One becomes practically mad. This Pururava, the middle of the night, he is trying to retrieve some stolen lambs, going out in the dark, completely naked. He's not even aware what's happening, what's going on with his own self. After giving up the two lambs, when Pururava was chasing those two Gandharvas who had stolen the lambs, they gave up the two lambs, but the Gandharvas, they were shining like lightning, they illuminated the house of Pururava. Urvashi then saw her husband returning with the lamps in hand, but he was naked. Therefore, she left. See what happened? Urvashi had made a condition that she never wants to see him naked, except when they are having sexual intercourse. So when Pururava went to retrieve the lamps, he didn't realize he himself was naked. And when he brought the lamps back, just because Urvashi was attached to those lamps as her own sons, these are the kind of attachments materialistic people or people of this material world develop. Having forgotten Krishna, who is our real well-wisher, who is the topmost personality with whom we should have our loving relationship. Instead, in this world, in forgetfulness of Krishna, we search out for different kinds of loving exchanges with others. Anybody, sometimes anybody who can exchange with us some kind of love. But actually it is only lust. That's what the scriptures say. All these exchanges of so-called love in this world are actually exchanges of lust. So this Urvashi has got some attachment for the two lamps. Pururava is attached to Urvashi. In the process, Indra is thinking, oh, my entire assembly in the heavenly planets, Urvashi is missing. So bring her back. So then the Gandharvas have come and they are very intelligent. They know that she is attached to these two lamps. So if they somehow steal the lamps, then Urvashi will not sit quiet. She'll do something. So what turned out to be a mission to rescue those lamps for Pururava, in the process he lost Urvashi. Urvashi left. No longer seeing Urvashi on his bed, Pururava was most aggrieved. Because of his great attraction for her, he was very much disturbed. Thus lamenting, he began traveling about the earth like a madman. This is what attachment does in this world. When somebody gets attached and they lose their object of attachment somehow, because nothing is permanent in this world. Sooner or later, Pururava would have lost her anyway, would have been separated. But it happened, unfortunately, very quickly. And missing her, he just was wandering. He is the emperor of the world. And what has happened to him? In the state of lamentation, he is wandering like a madman. And he is supposed to be the emperor of the world. So once, during his travels all over the world, Pururava happened to see Urvashi accompanied by 5 companions on the bank of this Saraswati at Kurukshetra. So while he was traveling, he happened to see her. With great jubilation in his face, he approached her and spoke to her. Very, very sweet voice. My dear wife, most cruel one, kindly stay. Kindly stay. I know that I have never made you happy until now, but you should not give me up for that reason. It is not proper for you. Even if you have decided to give up my company, let us nonetheless talk for some time at least. O goddess, now that you have refused me, my beautiful body will fall down here, and because it is unsuitable for your pleasure, it will be eaten by foxes and vultures. Pururava is thinking, how can I continue to live without Urvashi? So he's thinking that he doesn't want to live anymore. Then what is the use of this beautiful body if he doesn't want to live? So Urvashi said something very, very instructive for everyone. She said, my dear king, you are a man, you are a hero. Don't be impatient and give up your life. Become sober. Don't allow the senses to overcome you like foxes. This is very instructive advice given by Urvashi, that one should not be impatient while living in this world. One has to become sober, not just be carried away by passion to enjoy. And especially the senses are never to be trusted. So she says, become sober and don't allow your senses to overcome you. Don't let the foxes eat you. Your own senses can become your enemy. This is what Krishna says in the 6th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. The senses, or particularly not the senses but the mind, which is the center of all the senses, can be one's enemy or friend. If the senses and the mind are uncontrolled, they can become your enemy. And that's what she's telling here. Your senses, when they are overcome you, they are like foxes which will devour you, which will eat you away. You should not be controlled by your senses. Rather, you should know that the heart of a woman is like that of a fox. There is no use making friendship with women. See the thunderbolt of advice that Urvashi is giving to Pururava. She's further telling, women as a class are merciless and cunning. They cannot tolerate even a slight offense. For their own pleasure, they can do anything irreligious, and therefore they do not fear killing even a faithful husband or brother. All these relationships in the world are temporary. And if somebody is selfish, they don't care for the other person. Women are easily seduced by men. Therefore, polluted women give up the friendship of a man who is their well-wisher and establish false friendship among fools. Indeed, they seek newer and newer friends, one after another. That's why in the scriptures it is said, women have to be chaste. Chaste means they associate only with one man to whom they are properly married. Then Urvashi saying so, she told Pururava, anyway, you will be able to enjoy with me as my husband at the end of every year for one night only. In this way, you will have other children one after another. So in this way, Pururava would wait every year for Urvashi to give him association one night in a year. But after Urvashi delivered a son and left him with Pururava, Pururava was very happy. But when he thought about this separation from Urvashi, just after one night. He was very sorry, but Urvashi told him, if you want me to be with you, you take shelter of the Gandharvas who can deliver me to you again. So then Pururava began to offer prayers to the Gandharvas. Being pleased with him, the Gandharvas gave him a girl who looked exactly like Urvashi. Thinking that girl was Urvashi, Pururava began walking with her in the forest. But later he could understand she was not Urvashi but some other girl. Then Pururava left that girl and began meditating on Urvashi. And then the Yuga changed from Satyuga to Treta Yuga. In Treta Yuga, the system of transferring oneself to the upper planets was by performing sacrifices. So Pururava performed a sacrifice by which he wanted to transfer himself to the planet where Urvashi resided. And in this way, he hoped to meet her again in the heavenly planets and continue to enjoy with her. So, as Krishna says, this lust is something which drives a person mad, and it burns in the heart like fire. It has to be actually extinguished. This fire within the heart has to be extinguished. And Krishna says that it is only by regulating the senses, the mind and the intelligence, and properly engaging in devotional activities that one can conquer lust. And there is no other way. Now let me take some questions. If all the souls in Vaikuntha planets look like the Lord, how is there variegatedness in Vaikuntha? It is not that everyone in Vaikuntha looks like the Lord. It is only those who have Sarupya Mukti. There are different kinds of liberation, and one of the types of liberation is, one is elevated to the Vaikuntha planet and gets a form similar to that of the Lord. There are other types of beings with other types of position in the Vaikuntha planet. Some have Salokya Mukti, that means they live in the same planet as the Supreme Lord. Sashti Mukti, they have same opulence as the Lord. Then Samipya Mukti, where they are able to closely associate with the Lord, like that. So there is variegatedness in Vaikuntha. It is not that everyone is identical in form with the Lord. In any case, the Lord has some specific marks by which he is distinctly different from everyone else, even in appearance. He has got the mark of Srivatsa on his chest. He wears a necklace made of Kaustuba Mani, a very special gemstone. It's not a stone. In the spiritual world there are no stones. It's a gem, spiritual gem, which is very, very unique, and only the Lord actually has that. Like that, there are many, many distinguishing features of the Lord which other devotees don't have. So there is variegatedness in Vaikuntha. Next question. When some people worship demigods for material desires, why are they not given enlightenment to worship the Supreme Lord to get rid of these desires? Good question. Actually, the Supreme Lord is always seated in our heart, everyone's heart. And he is always ready to give proper directions. But it is the individual soul who has come to this world to enjoy, who is forgetful of the Supreme Lord and not willing to listen to any instructions which may obstruct their enjoyment or their fulfillment of their own material desires. Nobody wants to hear anything like that, any advice like that. So, this is the reason. The enlightenment is only if somebody is willing. That comes after some realization, some good association, or some kind of experience which may make a person rethink about material enjoyment itself. So until anybody becomes inquisitive to know about some higher reality than merely trying to enjoy with whatever position or whatever situation one is in, if one is not willing to consider what is the truth, ultimate reality, beyond what is seen or visible, beyond what we are experiencing, if one is not after discovering the reality or the higher understanding, then one will continue in material existence the same way, in ignorance. So ignorance can be removed, especially in human form of life, when one is able to make proper inquiries. So the encouragement is given in the scriptures, Athato Brahma Jigyasa. Now that you got human form of life, inquire into what is the ultimate truth, absolute truth, ultimate reality. Find out who you are. Find out what is the ultimate truth, what is the ultimate reality. Find out from where you have come. Find out what is going to happen to you after death. What is death? All these fundamental questions have to be raised. And then one is able to actually get proper answers when seeking the truth. And then the Lord will arrange to enlighten a sincere seeker. The Lord is seated in the heart as Paramatma, so He is just waiting to enlighten, to give proper direction to anybody who is seriously interested. Next question. If someone is having health problem for which the doctor is recommending meat eating, what can that person do? Well, doctors may recommend that to improve one's health, doctors may recommend that taking some non-vegetarian food. But one should know that there are so many alternatives for getting some nourishment. Just like meat is animal protein. Now, animal protein is available in the form of milk and milk products. That is where animal protein is available. Besides that, it is not compulsory to have animal protein to improve one's health. One can even take protein available in dal, in green leafy vegetables, in so many other vegetarian sources. This is available. Protein is available. Ample protein is available. So it is not true that meat and non-vegetarian products are the only source of nourishment for somebody who is having some health problem. No, that is not true. So if you consult a proper doctor who may give you a vegetarian alternative for getting nourishing food to improve your health, then your problem is solved. Can we chant Hare Krishna mantra and offer the results to someone who is not able to chant due to bad health? Well, the scriptures say that everyone has to chant for himself or herself. It is just like if you are hungry, you have to partake some nourishing food. Somebody else cannot eat and pass on the benefit to you to mitigate your hunger. Not possible. Similarly, you have to chant Hare Krishna for your own deliverance, or at least you have to hear Hare Krishna for your deliverance, and somebody else for their own deliverance, they have to chant or hear, chant and hear, or chant or hear. They have to do some seva, they have to execute some devotional service, whichever way, whatever they can. So, but you can do one thing, as their well-wisher, you can offer prayers to Krishna and pray to Krishna to bestow his blessings upon someone else. You can actually lead by setting a good example, inspire others also to do what you're doing. You can actually give them help. You see, doing devotional service, there are many methods, many different activities or processes. Chanting Hare Krishna is the easiest and the most practical way of devotional service in our age. But for whatever reason somebody is not able to chant, they can hear, then let them hear. If they can remember, let them remember. If they can be given some prasadam, if somebody can read for them, or somebody can actually do any other service which will somehow benefit them, whichever way. So that can be done, but ultimately it is up to the soul within a particular body to take spiritual benefit, whatever available, or take spiritual benefit from past actions, from past hearing, take spiritual benefit. Just like remembrance, smaranam, it can be done by anyone in any condition. Even though external consciousness may not be there for a person who may be having some bodily problem, but still internally the soul is always active. The soul is always active. The person is always conscious and active within. So such a person, if they have understood the importance of remembering Krishna, remembering Krishna's pastimes, remembering Krishna's name, remembering Krishna's form, remembering anything about Krishna, such remembrance is sufficient to deliver the person. I'll stop here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.